it. They're taking a different approach, though. Rather than having like the Furion to distract and create pressure, they have like the makings of no matter how many items you're ahead of us by, we'll have the ability to fight you.
Yeah.
With the Spectre pick.
It also is a really just sick answer to both of these heroes, because Veno and Furion are at their strongest when they can kind of just there's stuff around them. You know, they're Tywin Lannisters. They want to just chill. The army goes out in front of them. They can kind of survey from a safe.
He's reminding us that he read books again.
Subtle though.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I wanted to get a little more complicated than rock, paper, scissors, you know, trying to work you up slowly. You haven't been back in Dota for a while. Pretty soon we'll get to like the young adult reading. Anyway, Spectre just hops on top of these heroes, so you're never really safe, no matter how much your creep advantage is, how many wards you've got placed on high grounds. It's very important to have blink unreliant or reliable initiation without a blink dagger.
How do you feel about Tiny?
Similar to the co-op last game. So last game they had like the Beastmaster Terrorblade pushing lanes, and then they picked the Queen of Pain to like run around, capitalize on this, and now they've got a Tiny. Whether or not it's a support or a mid, can absolutely do that job. I think Tiny is just super scary right now as a hero. It's not the best against Rubik. I think he's like one of the best heroes to steal spells from, but Oracle is usually like a save, and you have to target your teammate with all the stuff. It's actually really hard to target anybody that's tossed up in the air.
It's true.
So it is kind of annoying to try to save against.
Yeah, Tiny, super scary here. Kind of like Voldemort, right? Right, Kyle?
He's not like Voldemort at all. Tiny would be more similar to either the Giants or perhaps the statues that McGonagall transfigured to go defend Hogwarts in the final battle. I think you really.
I feel like I'm like a third wheel to like this intellectual like. You know,
it's not really. He's just making shit up.
Harry Potter. I'm like sitting on the side, and you're like challenging him with these.
We got Super 5 at it. Let's take a look at let's take a look at the rest of this draft. We got Kunkka thrown into the mix here for NaVi, Kyle.
Yeah, Kunkka is quite nice against the Venom as well, because you have that rum buff that will allow you to fight through the mass damage that comes out from the Venom ulti and the Furion ult. In addition, it's really nice with Spectre because of the way damage reduction affects her, because you're dealing dispersion damage before reductions. So you're taking post-rum, post-dispersion, like maybe 30%, let's say, of the damage received, but 100% of the damage received is being distributed as AoE damage to enemies. So it's just a sick combo, and something that OG's been willing to use all the way back to like TI8 when they did the Centaur Ag stacking with the Wisp Inspector, and Ana would just like show up and be like, all right, hit me, but I'm gonna hurt you back.
I did see NaVi run this off lane the other day, and I was thinking this Venom might get rotated to 5, and if they do that, this Kunkka could be in for some serious hurting in the laning stage. So I really hope this isn't an offlane Kunkka.
Ah, no way.
They did it literally the first series of this tournament where they picked it 4th just like this, and then they ran it offlane. So
did they win?
No.
Then
I'm saying like I hope that's not what we're seeing here. It's like game plan wise pretty nice. Gives them a reliable setup that's not heavy commitment. So once they get the X torrent, maybe it'll give the Spectre that nice like deliberation period of do I haunt? Is this a good fight? Which is a ease of execution benefit for a hero like Spectre. And now Virtus.pro picks Void, which
we don't like that, right?
I don't love that, honestly. I don't think it's that great of a Void game.
Because you typically want to... Void's a great matchup against enemy cores that rely on elusiveness or mobility for survival. You don't typically want to go up against heroes like Spectre, which are already inviting damage. And your goal is just like to trade with them. It can work, but I prefer this Void pick to be in a spot where you've got either like a mag or some other form of damage amplification. A naked Void against all this save and damage reduction on the side of NaVi is a bit scary, because he's also going to be forced to protect his Venom and Furion, who are always going to be the target.
The one thing I like about Void here, which I think is what he's going to do, is if you go like the Midas like Manta Halberd build with the SNY thrown in there, you pretty much don't die to this NaVi lineup. Like, they don't really have damage to kill the Void, so with a hero like Venom on your team, if the fight goes 30 seconds to a minute, you pretty much just win, because of the damage over time is like insurmountable by any heal or sustain. So I think that the idea behind this Void is much less about the chrono and more about being this like annoying threat but also pseudo frontliner. I think that's what he's about.
So you're saying if the Venom can last 30 seconds to a minute, though, right?
Yes, and
Kyle,
if he can
that
manage
could
to last any longer than Kyle, then he's going to be good to go this game.
Do you get it? You get it, Kyle? They're laughing at you too.
There were so many different directions we could have gone. We could have just had Shiva host the whole thing.
Yeah.
You know, could have had Slacks come in for some memes here and there, but no. Another 20 days. God, stop. You're not even on this panel. We're at the last pick.
Well, you
guys.
said he doesn't really threaten Spectre, and now he
Viper is
does.
great because you can remove the dispersion. We're talking about how brutal this could be when you stack it with the Rum. Now you've got the Viper Nether Toxin that can just straight up remove the passive. Also removes passive from Rubik, and you remove Kunkka's ability to use Tidebringer, which is pretty insane. Stop giggling, Rich.
I'm not giggling.
The last pick for Navi, kind of
Does it actually break Tidebringer?
It might not anymore because they made it cool down. Yeah. I think I was wrong.
So,
not again.
Question, Kyle. So last time, one of the big things with VP's draft was kind of the idea of if they got control, they would never lose it. What's the story with their draft this time?
Pretty much the same. They have more of an emphasis on teamfight, but there's no steroids. They have to play better. Navi, I don't really like this Lina last pick. I think that now their draft is just a little too squishy. They don't really have tower pressure, whereas VP are going to have now a Chrono to teamfight around, and then Viper for pressure, and Fury and Venom spamming. I still feel like, once again, VP have an easier lineup to execute, but Navi at least have options here, and their Spectre, in theory, will eventually become the hyper carry.
I think it's just easy for them to have the greater numbers on Virtus.pro. I think they're going to have some lane shoving issues. The Spectre helped, or the Lina helped with that, but when I play Spectre, I hate feeling like I have to respond to them constantly, like whatever the team's doing. And I think VP, even though they have the long cooldown of the Chrono, will always be able to make moves, always be able to create pressure somewhere, and that is just really hard for Spectre to deal with. So I agree with Kyle.
Question though, Kyle, you said something along the lines of it's going to be like a little bit harder for them to get that control, correct? When we watched the last series, it seemed like, or the last game, which obviously is no longer a part of the series, the idea was
Time turner. We had to use the time turner.
Yeah,
so
right.
Just don't interact with the path,
but it's
please.
obviously like it's still data that we can go off of, right? Like we just watched it in a certain way. Like when we're trying to jump into this one, you look at what happened in that game, even though it's no longer a part of the series, and say, okay, what did we see? Didn't it seem like Navi was kind of in a position where they were executing just a little bit better, even being behind in the draft?
Yeah, I think Navi was playing better. It's just a
important thing to keep in mind, especially when the draft seemed to now be in a situation where there isn't as much disparity. But we're going to jump into the matchup and actually see what happens in this new game one.
Yeah, let's see how things go as we'll try and start this again, okay? Lacoste, game one of Navi versus VP. And what's your sort of record about this? Who are we seeing sort of take the edge with the new drafts?
Looking at the first game, it feels like, once again, Virtus.pro, at least in my book, has a better draft. I would call it 60-40 in their favor. Like, they have a global presence. Both teams actually do, with either Furion or Spectre, but I feel like Faceless Void is not gonna die to like those spells. They have Lina as the last pick. I'm really not convinced that Lina is the last pick hero. They picked it for the matchup, but overall, Lina just doesn't feel that strong, at least in my book. Not as a 10 pick. I think you need to have something stronger.
Sure, well, like you could see it sort of work if you're sort of starting the draft or having it in the midway. You just feel that there's many better things that you can say for that gotcha pick.
She's a hero that is flexible, so she can be played at like position 4, and you can pick it much earlier, I think, and then save your last pick for something better.
Yeah, and sort of overall across the rest of the lineup, do you feel there's any other threats that Navi's going to have against VP at certain parts of the game?
I feel like this lineup that Navi has is better than what they had in game number 1, but seeing how Resolution played after, giving them away of First Blood, it's, just don't get him mad.
Yeah, I think you gotta certainly watch out for Reza, as we saw in that first bit of play that we were able to see, that Yeah, he was definitely on the ball today in terms of his performance. So I think a lot of eyes are going to be on towards Rezo to make sure that they can try and do their best to shut him down, as he was really on the level. And here we go. Let's try it all again. We'll have to go for the old reset. As we say, I believe the status was that the reconnections just couldn't happen. So we have had to go for this remake here. Unfortunately, it's the only thing we can do. As hopefully we're not going to have any connection issues this time round.
What we just did when we failed, it was just we were heating up to what's coming up next. Seems like it could be another pause.
Oh no! I'm going to feel worried now every time we see a pause. I'm like, oh no, oh no! Don't do it again, please. Come on, game. You can do this. You can hold on. Come on, server.
This is possibly a best of 3 that could go to Game 4.
It could be a best of infinity. We could be stuck here in this series for the rest of our lives, Lacoste. And I know everyone watching as well, you're not going to be able to get up and leave. This is the last thing you'll ever do. Watch this series, NaVi versus VP for the rest of eternity.
Yeah, stay with us. If you're watching on your mobile phones, be sure to use your Wi-Fi instead of data.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, thank me later. Stay hydrated, and pause is gone. This is what we like to see.
Yes.
Thank God. They also flexed this Venomancer to position 5, and this game, just the Poison Sting, it's going to be so annoying to play against the Treant, Venomancer, Viper. It's a lot of overtime damage. One of the reasons why they picked Viper is to break the Spectre and have like a good laner on a mid. Also, I'm a bit worried that NaVi, they don't have any tower damage, so it's gonna be a problem for them.
Yeah, that's very true, really. No one that's going to feel confident going up at least early or in the mid-game and punching the tower. As opposed to VP, of course, with the heroes such as the Tiny and the Prophet. Going to be very strong at that indeed. As IOTW is going to walk in, take this bounty rune. He's going to be able to pick it up in time. He's not crystallized. Will be quicker with the clicker. So he gets that one. LTW forced away. Does now know that the Spectre will be laning down here. We'll see if that changes anything up for the lanes that VP want to start with. Doesn't look to be like that though, so they will keep the Void down here, supported by that Venomancer. And yeah, as you're saying, so Veno in the 5, I mean, is this hero at the moment just good enough that it really can work in multiple positions, or is it a little tricky in the 5?
All this hero needs is levels, and when solo is playing it, you know that there's gonna be either some stacking or some deaths. Last time I saw NaVi playing Kanka, they played it off lane, they just got destroyed by 5 men. They could not get closer. Undying was solo zoning out Grimstroke and Kanka. So I'm wondering about this mid matchup. Have not seen it in quite some time. No one. Being very, very aggressive, has a Fairy Fire to work with, and the Salve, of course.
He's got those mangoes out too, so he can continue to be heavy with the harassment. Top lane, bit of a toss back. Zayt's and Rezo taking a big hit though from the Tidebringer. They themselves having to be careful. In fact, Rezo, he's going to go down. A repeat of what we saw though in the initial attempt to the first game. He did give up first blood, then proceeded to totally style on NaVi. So we'll see if that is going to be the case here again.
Seems like that was the winning formula.
Yeah.
He's like the Hulk, but this time he understood what makes him angry and did it on purpose.
He did. He's just prepping himself for the rest of the game, Rezo, with that first death.
Also, solo should not get a point in Gale in this lane. One of the reasons why Ilias is down at the bottom lane with his Oracle could easily just be purged off.
Yeah, the consistent Poison Sting and Plague Ward spam having much less of an answer to it. Top lane, tossed back there onto Bashiel, able to hold his ground though with the Torrent. Resolution again, having to be careful, he goes down. And in fact, Zayt, he's got to run as well. He's hiding in the trees, he's got no regen. If Immersion can find him for that last hit, he'll get the kill, but Zayt with the Duke goes for the double bluff.
NaVi, they know where he is.
Oh, and Pasha finds him with the Torrent. NaVi really hitting hard on this top lane. 3 kills now up there.
I don't think we're going to see any kills at the bottom lane. You have Oracle plus Spectre and Venomancer Faceless Void. I don't see any of these heroes dying. It's a very passive lane. I'm just making it easy for our observer, you know? Just don't click on the bottom lane.
Yeah, very unlikely we're going to see any action down there. Mid lane, definitely could be a bit of a different story. Young-G, if he steps up too far and no one starts to get the stacks going, you can see no one getting aggressive. At the same time, just need to respect the light strike array. Young-G trying to do his best, and it's doing well so far. 14 for 9 versus the 14 for 2. And
I was just kidding.
I was going to say, and the observer knew to ignore you, Lacoste. He was on top of it. Able to catch that one down there as they do get in under the tower and kill off Solo. Na'Vi now 4-0.
I blame Solo. That's definitely not my fault. He was caught in a bad spot. Zayats, mid lane.
Oh, he's going to get in with the Avalanche. TP coming in. The toss, the poison isn't enough. Young-G will live. Not enough burst and couldn't get the toss back to allow for the kill onto the Linas. Young-G will survive.
It's a tough start for Tiny. Like, he has 1 CS. At least he started with the boots, so like you're relying on getting like a kill or a couple of CS so you can get to those tranquil boots, and you need to have a lot of like mangoes going on plus clarities to be efficient on the map. Right now he's really struggling, sitting at half HP. Like if he gets too close to Lina, he could easily die.
Looking at that CS across the board right now. The Prophet, the only one to fall a little bit behind Rez, of course, with those early 2 deaths on him up top, leaving him in a bit of a tricky position to try and recover alone against the 2 of Na'Vi.
Zayats with the full wraparound, but does not find anyone on the mid lane, and no one.
Maybe
very close to level 6.
Might still be able to do something here onto Young-G. Let's get the toss back. Young-G. And in the light strike though, and time's being bought for the TP to come in from Immersion. Zayats is still trying to chase down Young-G. Cannot continue to do so. They've got to let him go. So Immersion, good reactions, keeping his mid laner alive.
It doesn't matter. It's almost even better if they didn't kill him. Solina's now just farming the neutrals. How are we bounty-wise? 2 for 1, and seems like Virtus.pro will pick the last one.
Solo. It's going to be chased here by Crystallize. And with that final nuke from Ilias, they'll claim his life again. Another pickup for Na'Vi. Zayats trying to punch back onto the 2 of them, but Crystallize has got the stick charges. Pop out another dagger, and again with the nukes from Ilias, they claim his life as well. Double kill from the Oracle before he goes down. Resolution finally able to come over with the TP, get a kill in return for the side of VP.
Surprised that we didn't see Resolution TPing to a mid lane, try to finish off Lina. Like, he is hero that can just TP and TP back with the scroll. Now at least they get 1 kill back. It's still 6-1, but not even 1,000 gold lead for Na'Vi. That means that Virtus.pro is still doing a good job just, farming the lanes.
Actually bringing in the 3 at the mid. Rune will be easily grabbed by no one. No contest there from Na'Vi around those.
That's why I didn't like Lina as the last pick. Like, you still lose the matchup to Viper. It's a burst damage against the Faceless Void. Right now, you're struggling. 30 CS, Viper has almost 20 denies. That's quite a lot.
Ilias is going to step into the Venomancer at the same time mid. Zayats. It's in on top of Young-G. Immersion's there once more to try and help the Lina out. Looking to try and grab no one away, but no one's got the reach with the poison. Will finish off Young-G. Same time up top, the dive comes in from Na'Vi. They're in on to Resolution. ILTW responding with the help of Solo. They're going to look to punish Crystallize for this dive. Crystallize trying to get away, but the slows should be too much for him to deal with. Actually going to drop the chrono for that. Was that necessary, do you think?
He had time walk in a couple of seconds,
Yeah.
You're killing Spectre, just to be sure.
Sure, maybe.
It's fine. Yeah, he was holding it for too long. I thought he was just going to use it and kill him straight away. Like, Zayats is being pain in the ass, what we call in our pubs. We call him a tryharder.
See mid, Resolution.
How many times did he come to a mid lane? Like 4 or 5 times already?
There's been a lot of focus around that area. Trying to get things going good for his mid laner.
Okay, interesting build by Pasha, not skilling both at level 6. He got 1 at level 7.
This mid lane tier 1 tower is falling pretty early, but Navi's going to do their best to hold on to this. The grab there from the X-Mark onto no one. Drags him into the combo, and Navi will protect their tower. Taking down no one there as he tries to stand on the high ground and look for the siege.
Whenever someone uses absolutely perfect, you go, that's me.
In my head, Lacoste, I do. Look, Mum, I'm on the telly.
Invisibility.
3 for 8. You know, it's a close opening, this one. Top of the board at the moment is that Void of ILTW. He's in the top space, and as we said, that a lot of sort of easy ways for him to sort of find the kills with the backup of no one, having that break mechanic, meaning that between the two of them, at all portions of the game, they'll have a solid way of killing the Spectre. There'll always be the saves, though, of Na'Vi, not only the false promise, but also that Kunkka's boat, some classic answers to the Chronosphere.
Just TP out, it's sometimes that easy. They already used the combo. They're very limited on the stuns. What they have is Time Lock, Chronosphere, and Tiny. The rest of the heroes, you know, you can just TP out.
Top lane. And they go with the TP. Immersion's going to be there for the follow-up catch on to the Void, but do they quite have the damage for him? Oh, with Young G coming in, they certainly do. Nice move from the Lina to sweep up top and connect there. Also, able to get that Chronosphere steal. Not something that you see this early on, at least. Immersion might just be able to do something aggressive, or may at the least save his teammates here with that Chrono. If VP do go in for this dive, which they're trying for. Getting the vision behind the tower with the Plague Wards. Let's see what they can get. Immersion and Pasha, they know that there's a lot of heroes up here hunting for them.
Haunt is ready. Spectre just farming safely in one of those lanes. She wants to use it right now. Bounty Rune spawning in 10 seconds. That's a very tough kill to get.
Yeah, they're really diving in for Pasha, but Pasha's he's a Kunkka early on. He's still pretty beefy.
Immersion positioning himself well in the trees, has a stolen Chronosphere. That's why when you play Faithless Void, you should put like 1 point in time dilation.
They get the top tower nonetheless. Na'Vi not able to come in and bring together a defense. It's VP still having that Void in the top spot. Overall net worth even down bottom. In the jungle, Resolution, he is being hunted. Straight in with the Laguna. Young G getting some big kills here. That first move up top, allowing him to kill off the Faceless Void. Now he heads down bottom, able to catch out Resolution. So some good quick movements. So he's going to propel this Lina towards a sort of decent Yule Scepter timing.
Yeah, Young G is making the right moves right now on the map. You know, getting a kill on Faceless Void first, now on Nature's Prophet, and they are keeping this siege creep alive on the bottom lane. There's a rotation from Venomancer. Usually he's the guy that can defend the towers, not by himself, depending, but still the wards are maxed out, so he's gonna actually be able to do it.
Yeah, it's gonna push back the three of them. We saw both carries there, getting the Midas online at pretty much the exact same time. ILTW and Crystallize. Both ready to get their farmer going. Still, though, the gap only getting bigger between them as ILTW just able to get around the map that a bit more efficiently. And again, both sides are going to do their best to look to enable their carries with these big ults, the Haunt and the Chronosphere. Mid lane Immersion is going to be able to get a usage out of that stolen Chrono. Do they have the damage, though, to quite burst this Tiny? Immersion grabs it back and into the stolen toss. Lovely work there from the Rubik.
Perfect spell casting from Immersion. He was just wanted to use that Chrono. It was running out, and they found a good target. Like, you might not think about it, but killing that position for Tiny, who I would say did not achieve as much. Yeah, he won the lane for Viper, but they did not get as many kills. He's at the bottom of net worth, so his Blink Dagger timing is gonna be insanely bad. And he is the enabler. Like, he wants to go in, you know, try to start a fight. Other 4 heroes, you can't just, you know, blink in and land a 3-man Chrono. It's going to be very hard for them to actually start a fight without the Blink Dagger on Tiny.
And when it comes down to these more passive moments, I mean, which sort of lineup do you favor as the game goes on? Would you rather be the team behind the Spectre or the team behind the Void in this?
I'm gonna go with Spectre.
Yeah,
Spectre as a
just
late game.
2 meta right now.
Yeah. In most of the cases, but now that they have a break for 2 of her abilities, it could be a completely different story if they can keep Viper alive. To use it multiple times.
Ready to make a move with the Chrono. Immersion, not really the dream target. Young G, on the other hand, though, would certainly be an appealing jump for RLTW to make. As Young G, a little close here. RLTW could just straight up drop the Chrono for this kill as the mid laner. It would be worth it, and there we have it. Goes in with the Chrono. Got the extra damage coming in from the side from no one. And no trouble at all finding that kill.
Yeah, Resolution with the ulti, just KSing or securing the kill. This is a lot of damage on that tier 2 tower. Meanwhile, on the bottom lane, Venomancer, just put some wards. Doesn't matter if he dies, he's scouting for information. He's good to go. And I love this build. Like, after watching Team Secret play, I think a lot of the teams will start copying it and not just getting Veil on position 5s, but if it's not a good item for him, someone else is gonna get it. It feels like a must-have item right now.
Well, we see down bottom, actually Immersion causing some problems with the stolen Plague Wards as he lays them down. Punching in Azayas into the stolen Avalanche, and that'll do it. Sets up for Pasha to get the finishing blow with the Tidebringer. Light Strike Array into the Torrent, onto no one. NaVi able to hit back hard there with the control that Immersion was able to offer.
Right now, Virtus.pro, they use Chronosphere and they don't have much to offer, so they need to play around their timings. It's also a lineup that takes the Roche very easily, I would say, especially with the Venom wards. So we might see a fairly passive game from Virtus.pro until Tiny gets a Blink Dagger. And I don't think he's close. He's still on the bottom of the net worth chart.
See if they can go for this here. Pasha, he's got extra assistance on its way, Ilias. And Immersion again, reaching from the side with the Avalanche, catches out the Veno. And Solo goes down. NaVi really racking up the kills here in this game one. 15-4 right now.
Love the build on Pasha. Like a bracer, magic wand, straight into pipe. We don't see that too often, but when you're playing against Tiny Viper and Venomancer, you definitely need to get one.
We'll see the timing for the Chrono come back very shortly, and as you say, that really is the tool that VP have to make things happen with. 30 seconds. And they'll be ready to go once more. Bottom lane, Immersion gets the opening here onto the Tiny. And they'll find that catch there. Immersion, this Rubik honestly feels like that he's doing a whole lot of work with the setups that he is finding.
Man, Zayats is not having a good time.
Top lane Resolution is going to be chased here. Pasha's going to have the control for him as the X mark into the boat comes into play with the 3 of them on him. There's nothing Resolution can do to save himself. NaVi, they're just finding kills at a pace that the VP can't really match.
Immersion is all over the place. Like, Viper's also a hero that doesn't like to make rotations. It's very hard for him, to move. He's not speedy. He doesn't have anything to stop the TPs with. So it's very hard. Have we heard one haunt?
I don't think there has been, really. And that's the thing. He's still as involved as he is without it. 2-1 and 8. Crystallize still able to make himself involved with the catch that his teammates offer. Every hero on his lineup has a long-range stun or catch to set up for this Spectre to just sweep him with the dagger.
Orchid is a very cheap item right now. Resolution will have it right now, but they have a way of dispelling it, so it's not gonna be that efficient. Tiny still 1,000 gold away from a Blink Dagger.
And here we have, as soon as the Chrono's up, the smoke is out. ILTW on the hunt. Really needing to get something with this.
Pasha, with the big brain play, uses X mark on him, cuts down their mango tree.
And the line being drawn, may want to go back in and try for the kill. On to this poor old Veno, and they should have it. The boat into the Torrent. RV finds yet another. Zayats is coming in to try and control Pasha. Pasha, as you mentioned, very tanky with the pipe. Is he tanky enough, though? Should be with the save of Ilias. As Ilias keeping him safe from that initial magic. LLTW looking for the chrono setup, doesn't find the space to grab the two of them. And with that in mind, doesn't want to commit any further. Knows that he cannot go onto Pasha with that Oracle being on the high ground. So Na'Vi, they could just turn and kill off Zayat, knowing that the Void has already been scared off by the fact that they just don't have that way of getting to the back lines of Na'Vi.
After Faceless Void blinked in and didn't use the Chronosphere, instead used the time dilation, he realizes, if I use the Chronosphere, it's gonna get stolen because I don't have any spells to use after. Oh, stolen Venom wards. Man, Immersion is what Resolution did in game number 1. He's carrying them from that position 4 right now.
Yeah, 3-0-10. Excellent opening from the Rubik here. Just 18 minutes in, 19-4. Bottom lane. IOTW will find his chrono target. Youngji out alone. These sort of catches, these kills, it's going to be what IOTW has no trouble at all dropping a chrono for. Taking this Lina out of the game. Does mean that the Spectre's farm is only going to continue to amass. They've got to keep a little bit of a tab on to Crystallize with this Midas build.
Oh, Midas, come on.
Oh, yeah, that efficiency. There we go. Whew.
I was afraid for a second that
Solo
he's not going to use it.
He's having a rough one this time. Solo 0-6-2.
Well, at least he's solo dying, not bringing any of his teammates down with him.
They're trying to make the space. Zayats, see if you could get him with the combo onto Crystallize. Did have no one around. Crystallize did stick around a little too longer, but Crystallize is playing it safe. Mid lane Na'Vi coming in with the format. Onto the tier 1. Fortifications out. Nothing is going to be done to keep this tower up. It's Na'Vi. Claim a second tier 1.
Oh, Lina's even going for the damage build. Getting that Dragon Lance. I mean, it makes sense. You have Dragon Slave, go for the Dragon Lance, maybe get the Dragon Scale as a neutral item.
Yeah, and ultimately the Hurricane Pike is going to be very nice against these heroes like the Prophet with the Sprout, the slows of the Venom, even maybe for those clutch dodges of the Chronosphere. Top lane, Youngji finds the catch onto the man himself. That faces Void. IOTW's been found. They blow him up. Big catch there from Youngji, hunting down the Void.
Thing about Navi's lineup is they can fight all the time. I wouldn't say that they need this Spectre ulti to actually take the fight, but on the other side, Virtus.pro, they are relying on Chronosphere to actually get the kills. And as time goes by, it's going to be much harder for them to actually, you know, take a fight. If they misuse the Chrono, someone has a buyback, Navi could easily take the Roche.
Let's see where Navi want to head to next. They have smoked up on Zayats, no one. Can they actually find anyone down here, though? It would be underneath the tier 1 tower, so likely that Na'Vi would be able to respond, and Na'Vi just not letting themselves get caught out whatsoever.
Oh, would you look at that? Crystallize going for a second item, or a third item, whatever we want to call it. BKB against the Viper, which I really like, against the Venomancer. Like, you're not gonna kill him, definitely.
Yeah, no, for sure. They do not have the damage for that BKB if they cannot break him. Bottom. Pasha. He's found a big one this time. It's Resolution caught in the boat combo. Will dodge the Light Strike Array, but does not matter. So much catch and control from Na'Vi's lineup.
Yeah, Resolution tried to go for a play, silence him, but the nicely timed X mark into boat. Pasha's not getting full this time.
That's what I see Na'Vi, as quickly as they make that move down bottom, they're just straight over to make another. Pasha, X mark to set up onto no one. Dragging back, do they have the damage to bring down the Viper? A little bit of a tankier target. They're bringing him low. Get the chance to turn with the Viper Strike, but Youngji comes in from the side with the Dragon Slave. The Light Strike Array also getting Zayat. Na'Vi relentless with this pressure as they just sweep the map 24-5 at just 22 minutes in. They are just non-stop killers.
This game's looking all Na'Vi right now. Even though it's, I'm gonna call it only 7k gold lead, man, they're relying so much on landing a sick Chronos here, but they don't have that much actually damage to throw inside. Like, what, Nether Toxin and some right clicks coming out from Nature's Prophet and Viper? I don't think that's enough. And so far, once again, in the first game, and usually, alright, he's gonna find him.
He is. Cancels the TP. Crystallize is going to be in to offer up the damage. Another kill onto Resolution. NaVi hunting down VP just intently. It just does not stop.
Yeah, I wanted to say that Ilya's positioning is extremely good. Now they're setting up some Venom wards inside the pit. Oh, Pasha already knows. That's not a good plan. Bail, bail.
That's risky, unless they can find some sort of dream chronosphere from ILTW. Already the fight's going to start with Solo taking a boat straight to the face, into the torrent. Solo trying to get away, will be able to turn with the Gale. Zayt's
saving private Solo.
Keeps him out of there, Solo will live. This Roshan area, very tricky for VP to fight in unless ILTW does get a good chrono. Still playing around the area. They don't want NaVi themselves to be able to walk in and go for the Rosh. NaVi not with a great lineup for hitting Roshan, but a very, very strong lineup for fighting around that pit.
They have enough damage with Spectre and the Manta style. Desolate works on Roshan, but still, like, there's gonna be a Venom ward, so you can't just go in and take it. You first need to take a fight.
Yeah, Solo just building up on this area. Will allow them to go back in here. VP actually just walking straight back into the pit. NaVi, they split right up across the map, despite knowing that VP were hanging around looking for this. They're going to start moving back over now, and they do have the BKB finished on Crystallize. They're back over in time to start to push VP away. Roshan falling low, about 3rd HP right now. NaVi with the smoke, trying to get in position to catch them off guard. Torrent won't clip onto the Viper.
Venom is so annoying to play against. Like, Pasha doesn't care about the damage or the slow, he's just out-regioning that. But the vision the snakes provide is just too much in my opinion. I think this is the nerf that Venom needs to get in the next patch.
Oh, and Reza, what was he doing over here? Inside the jungle and right underneath the nose of NaVi, he's trying to create space, and tell you what, it worked. The Chrono's out, they'll be able to get the kill and get the Aegis. As ILTW drops the Chrono to ensure that they get it. They will lose no one for it, but definitely seeming to be the idea there, throwing away Resolution's life, and unfortunately for VP, no one and Solos does get them the Roshan, does get them the Aegis. I mean, is that worth it for VP?
I think the idea was, like, we're leaving no one behind, and they actually left no one.
Yeah,
inside
a bit of miscommunication.
Yeah, I don't think they understood what that means, but yeah, definitely not worth it for Virtus.pro.
And then maybe further miscommunication is, you know, no one goes down and is like, I'll die solo, and then Solo's like, you want me to die as well? No, that's not what I meant! So it gets very tricky with the names, you know, when it comes to the team comms of VP. Very hard to really iterate what they really mean to one another.
Thank God they don't have a guy named Feed the Couriers, you know.
Yeah, that's a good job. Good job they don't. Maybe on a future roster. Who knows with the crazy names of Dota 2 players.
Money to burn.
And NaVi still holding on to that lead with those 3 kills despite losing the Rosh and the Aegis to VP. 10k lead for them. Big item done for Young G's got the Daedalus. This Lena's going to be hurting if she's allowed to stand at the back of it all. You cannot underestimate how hard and how fast the Lena hits with once that passive builds up.
If Lena goes for something like an Aghanim Scepter, she really doesn't scale, but going for these kind of items, you can still get something like a Satanic, be extremely tanky. And it's not just a Spectre, you know, they have 2 carries, actually, because Lena adjusted her item build. Virtus.pro only managed to get 5 kills so far. It comes down to that Tiny's not having a good time in this game, and his Blink Dagger was...
As foretold.
The BKB is able to focus down the Viper. Viper's out of this one. ILTW steps over towards Pasha. He's been disarmed. Jumps over for the X mark. Drags him straight back. It's been a buyback from Ilias for this fight to keep his teammates strong. ILTW still wanting to go. He's still got that Aegis, but he's lost solo. Rezo TPing in. Can Rezo find a target on the back of it all? They burst through the Aegis. That's ILTW down the once.
4 against 3. Spectre's gonna be full HP. They have no chrono. They need to fall back. They found Tiny.
There's another X-Mark grab onto Zayats.
Oh man, Zayat's really struggling. 0, 8, and 2 this game.
It's been a rough one for him. Rough one really for both supports of VP this game. Okay. Let's see what we have going on next. Yeah, it shows some apologies for if you did lose the stream connection. We were having some problems with the connection, but hopefully you can see and hear everything now as we're back into the action. It just don't stop. Crystallize, he's in on the high ground, a little low on the mana, was trying to come in for this bounty rune timing. Feeling safe with the Oracle on the back lines, actually getting the blink off in time as Ilias is able to get away from the Sprout. Crystallize still getting slowed, but just having this Oracle protecting him, making it so hard for VP to ever really go on this Spectre.
Yeah, both of these carries are actually so tanky, very hard to bring down unless they throw in a couple of spells. Spectre just going for that Scotty. Man, Spectre right now feels one of the best carries, if not the best carry in the game.
Mid lane. And the dust onto Solo. Pasha tries for the blind torrent, but Solo's already away.
Immersion did not die a single time this game. 5, 0, and 19.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. Him and Pasha, flawless so far. 6-0, 15 on Kunkka. Smoke up from NaVi. Ready
Oh, Owen, I don't know.
seen?
I'm seeing Aghanim Scepter on Kunkka.
Oh.
This is one of my favorite ones. Thor and Storm. Disruption. I mean, it's a disruptive ability, especially in the Chronosphere. Finding heroes in the back lines. He also has Boots of Travel queued up. He wants to be able to deal with Nature's Prophet when he's split pushing. Just TPing to a side lane, catching anyone that tries to split push. When Spectre gets Hand of Midas, like, you know that she's playing for the late game. Getting that level 20 talent, level 25, extra dispersion, and the other items are gonna come quicker.
Yeah, there's this sort of building threats. But the fact, though, that ILTW is keeping up. I mean, the game is 7-31. But ILTW still able to maintain his position there in second place on the board, but he's dead.
Did not want to use BKB.
That
ILTW, it stands for I love to wait with my BKB.
apparently so. The biggest kill that NaVi could hope for there, as I was just talking up, the one core that's really having great farm on VP, getting shut down. Crystallize also going to find another core here by the looks of it. He's on to no one. No one trying to turn, but there's no help for this Viper.
They even have this Rubik against Viper break. Like, we've seen that in our previous series where, you know, Rubik against Viper. Same goes for Timbersaw. You steal pure damage or you just break some of the heroes. I love the item build on Spectre. Just going for tanky stuff. Manta style, BKB, so that she can't be broken. And now going for full Scotty. TP is not going to get cancelled.
Oh, they're actually going to find the setup here top as they catch out Young G out alone on that top lane. Something you've got to be very careful about doing so when there's a Nature's Prophet in the game. Totally alone, that Lina, and we'll pay the price for it. 8 to 33. VP still doing their best to hold on And just continued pressure on ILTW to perform with the Chronospheres. They're going to try for something with the smoke up. They have to either find the back lines if it is a full 5-on-5 or get one of these core pickoffs alone. Crystallize would be the dream catch. And in fact, Crystallize is down here and he's on his own. If they could get him, and they just have done so with this Chrono, Crystallize, he's going to be a goner.
Yeah.
That's the dream pick there. Finding the leaner top with Resolution, catching Young-G out alone, and then moments later, Crystallize being entirely isolated on that bottom half.
Once you break the Spectre, it just doesn't feel like it's the same hero. Like, it's a completely different story. And they got 2 big kills, even though it's a 34-9, it still feels like Virtus.pro is, you know, fighting back. You can't feel that difference.
You know, it's, as you say, the kills do look daunting, but it's definitely a game where VP still have a shot. If they can continue to just make those little outplays, catch NaVi out when they're least expecting it, it's going to keep them in this match. And NaVi, I think, after losing Young-G and Crystallize in that manner, they'll be very careful about that happening again.
Roche is up, so Cheese and Aegis. Right now, Virtus.pro does not want to take a fight. Like, they would want to get a pick off if possible.
Oh, Young-G
once again.
He wanted the bounty rune. He does get it, and he's gonna be saved. Zilis is there with the false promise, gets him out of it. So, job done. Got the rune, and survived. It's top lane. Immersion just doing his best to nuke this out. There's another case of being a hero out on his own. Does see Resolution though in the lane, so not too worried about him coming in with the global TP, and Resolution himself just focusing on finishing off that Hex. NaVi, they're going to try and sneak the Roshamp. They're into the pit, and they do it very fast with the farm that Crystallize has built up. Him and Young-G.
NaVi, they know there's no Chronosphere ready yet, so they use this and they give Aegis to Lina. Interesting. Like, when you have Spectre in the team, she's the one picking up that Aegis. But I guess they don't think she can die if Oracle is just sitting behind her. Still, a much safer play would be, you know, just give it to Spectre. She's sitting at 3.5 KHP. Lina still squishy, does not have a BKB. That could be the reason why they gave Aegis to Lina. Oh, BKB's flying out. It's here. Kanka even gets the gem. They have 1 Glimmer Cape, and they have Shadowblade and Nature's Prophet.
And they've got to be very, very careful about Pasha getting the catches. So far this game he's been excellent at doing so, now only getting that bit more easier with that vision advantage. It's bottom lane, Zayats starting to have a poke at the tier 2 at the same time. Resolution keeping the split push up. Has that pressure on the top lane. Doing their best to keep the side lane shoved in against NaVi. NaVi still to look for a play around mid. And they're going to get the catch onto the Faceless Void, and this time RTW just chain stunned up. No chance for him to BKB there between the disables of NaVi. Zayats on the retreat. Immersion with the stolen time walk. He's able to close the gap, get in, find the vision for the Yules to cancel that TP, as Immersion will yet again set up for another kill.
I was kind of expecting a time lock after that time walk from Rubik, but it did not happen. Spectre, no ulti, but they're knocking on your tier 3 towers. Lina dishes serious amount of damage right now. Full dataless, a lot of attack range.
And it's a long minute without that Faceless Void. No ILTW for the defense. Resolution continue to do what he can on the split. Will take down that tier 2 bottom. There's the buyback from Zayats. No one though, he's caught on the front, he's dead. He himself has got buyback available. The fortification comes out from VP. Can they hold this though without their 2 cores? It's going to be tricky as NaVi, they stay persistent, taking down this tier 3 that up to the barracks.
I was expecting more from no one. Like, you need to instantly buy back so no one notices that you actually died.
He didn't do it. Wasn't quick with it. Holds on to it, concedes that mid set of racks. It's gone. And there's the Hex done for Rezo. So with the split push, he still found the timings. Has that Hex, so now a second way of trying to get on top of the Oracle at the backlines. Satanic done also for ILTW, so at least a bit of a better chance of breaking his way out of the stuns that NaVi are throwing at him with that boosted status resistance.
Yeah, he's been really struggling against these long duration stuns that Immersion was doing on him, and the spell casting from NaVi this game, I would say, was on point, really. And he's getting closer to level 25 on Faceless Void, so backtrack. Whew. What, did Faceless Void have backtrack as like passive ability? I don't even remember.
Yeah, well, he didn't used to have time dilation. Remember back in the day? Back in the day it was a little easier to play, a fewer buttons to press. You didn't have to press W. Now you do. Makes it obviously a much...
Now he's called I love to W.
Exactly.
Now he loves pressing that time walk. Time dilation.
I was going to say there, unless he's got some funky hotkeys, or I don't quite know how Void would work in Legacy. Some big items coming out of Spell Prism. That's a bit of a juicy one for the leaner if he wants to take it. I guess it doesn't really synergize too nicely with the right-click build, but at least will mean that with the low cooldowns, he's going to constantly have the Fire His Soul passive stacked up at maximum.
It's also a very nice stats coming out from that item.
Oh, Aster. Okay, doesn't want it. Interesting. I mean, what would you rather take, the Leveler or the Paladin? The attack speed is so nice, but I guess with the Satanic, the Paladin synergizes nicely.
Feels much better.
Okay.
I mean, you can put it in your backpack, and when team fight is over, you know, if you want a team fight, just put it in and go for the buildings. Lina's keeping Flicker for now. I think they gave Spell Prism to Kunkka, I believe. Like, it's a very good item on Kunkka, where you're just lowering the cooldown on your Torrents and the Torrent Storm.
That's mid lane RTW. He's trying to get the info. He's got to be very careful how he commits with the Chronosphere. Already no one. He's going to be gone upon by Pasha. They're going to pop the Haunt as well, trying to go in for this solo. Puts the Poison over the Void. He's going to look for the Chrono on the backlines. Catches Youngji to get out of the BKB, but it looks like RTW's got the physical damage to bring him down, or has he? No, Youngji gets the chance to flicker off to the side. Yules it himself up. Youngji still falls though. The bashes come out from ILTW's. Now he jumps over to look towards a second target. The buybacks come out from no one. Another disarm onto ILTW, but they push him back with the Havoc Hammer on Tiny. They're on top of the Viper, but the Spectre with the cheese pop. He's going to live for now. The save as well from Ilias with that false promise, keeping the Spectre alive. But there's the Hex from Rezo onto Immersion. Immersion forced down to the low ground. ILTW tries to chase him, but he's already out of reach. Immersion will live. Buybacks coming out from both sides there. In fact, VP, they're ready to try and chase him for more immediate smoke. They're up to the high ground. They've found Youngji. Youngji, he brought back for this one. They found the Hex. That's a dieback from the Lina. Youngji, he's out for 2 minutes, Lacoste.
They have 2 minutes to go to the mid lane, but the lanes are being pushed in. At least the mid one, Nature's Prophet, should be able to take care of that. And now Faceless Void is level 25. How do you kill him? Like, I don't think you have enough.
They're gonna...
The backtrack plus Satanic.
I mean, they're trying. The boats are coming crashing down, but you're right. Look how effectively tanky he is with that 25. They cannot kill him. He's going to jump forward. He gets the dilation onto all of them. Rezo pots the BKB. He's trying to get away with the Invis. They've got detection on him. He gets the Nature's Wrath off in time, and now ILTW is on to Crystallize. Crystallize with the BKB back up, turns over towards no one. Buyback from Rezo. He's TPing in. Can they have the control? Control Pasha. Pasha's trying to run. ILTW looks to jump across, won't find him, but in the Sprout, they catch out Immersion. The Rubik is gone. The Gale out onto Pasha. The save's there from Ilias with the false promise. He's trying to run Science, and ILTW chase on forward. They're in onto the Kunkka. He's caught in the Sprout. The Dagger out as well, but Pasha, he's just stuck in here, surrounded by the Treants. ILTW and Pasha stay on top of him. He is so tanky though.
Oh, that back.
Is he really tanky enough to live? He finally falls there, smashed down as NaVi themselves. They're going to have to come out with the buybacks. Buyback from Immersion. Buyback as well from Pasha. They catch this Void though. It doesn't look like it. ILTW is able to jump away.
I don't think they have enough to kill the Faceless Void at the moment.
Who can they catch with this Haunt though? He's into the break. Crystallize's got to be careful. He's got to step out of this puddle. He's broken. He's dilated. He haunted in for this one. The Hex is there from Rezo. This Spectre in trouble. ILTW, his BKB's back up. He commits, but Ilias in with the save. The false promise keeps the Spectre alive, and they've killed off no one. Crystallize turns over towards Resolution. BKB pop with the bash. It's there. Triple kill for Pasha. ILTW, he's all alone. He's the last one left standing here for VP, and they'll kill him as well. Ultra kill for Pasha. NaVi leading in confidently with that haunt from Crystallize, and it pays off. Even with the BKB not quite back up, they couldn't kill the Spectre in time, and Ilias coming in with those clutch saves, just keeping his teammates alive.
What a great decision-making from NaVi. They went for that Viper. They know that they want to take him out, so there's no break. And Spectre almost died, but Ilias once again with the clutch save.
Yeah, great Oracle showing here from him, as you said.
And they did not try to focus down the Faceless Void. They left him as the last hero to kill.
Oh, no, it's solo. Can he solo defend?
Nice pun, Owen.
Yeah, we'll see. No one else in the game for 20 seconds this Tiny. NaVi have got a big window here to do the damage. They're looking to end this one. They do have
no one has a
fortification.
buyback, and I'm not talking about the player.
Yeah.
Like, literally no one has a buyback.
They might. Can they hold? They're going to have Science back in. 2 heroes up. What can the supports do? Solo, not a whole lot. They get on top of him. Solo is down. The tier 4s will fall. They'll tap out. There's no hold here for VP to make as GG, it's called. NaVi will take this game 1. After a lot of killing, 46-14 this one ends.